Perfect. More. Perfect. Video. Perfect. Nope. All right. As far as all the permissions go, it looks like it's all set. Empress.
She's like, I'm gonna hide from the camera.
Yeah, she seems to like to go right under there.
I'll probably bring the computer down at some point, but like I tried bringing it down first, and then she's like, let me walk all over your keyboard.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
She had like a big burst of energy before this, and then she's probably gonna end up like napping for most of the video.
Yeah.
Like, wake up, you cute puppy thing.
Yep. Trying to time them to make them suit videos is just never happens.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're gonna go for a car ride. Oh, we weren't supposed to feed them. Oh.
One little leg.
You see one little foot. Two feet.
Ew, so cute. So it's 9 a.m., but we're gonna wait for a couple more people to come on the call, give people a chance to log on. Hang tight. Couple more minutes.
Do you have the chat?
Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Well,
Send it back to you now.
all right. Well, we'll get this started. We already have a couple questions. So to start off, welcome to our virtual Q&A in the Puphouse. My name is Sophia. I'm a puppy care technician here at Fidelco. And I also have, she's heavy. This is Empress from our E29 litter. So I'm raising her and she's gonna join me today for our Q&A. And I saw that Michael Butler already asked a question about how many are in the litter. So for her litter, there were 8 puppies. So it was a big litter. And she is 9 weeks old. So they've already gone to the puppy raiser homes, which is why it's just her here today. All right. Then I already see another question from Mike F. I'm going to unmute you so you can ask your question. We have Everest. You have Everest? Oh. Look, Empress, it's your sister. That's so
sister.
Oh, that's adorable. Are you loving her? Yeah. They're pretty great puppies, huh?
The puppies are cute puppies.
They are cute puppies. All right. I'm going to meet you again. That was pretty cool. So that was Empress's sibling, her sister. So they've had her for just a little while as well. So we do have some younger litters in here as well right now. We have our F, G, and H litters. They're all really little, a lot smaller than these guys. All right. So like I said, so these guys went home around 8 weeks old to their puppy raiser families. Before that, they're in here in the Puphouse from birth to 8 weeks. Their moms are in here with them for about 6 weeks. So we have another question, what breed are the puppies? So they're all German Shepherd dogs. That's all that Fidelco does here is we do German Shepherds to be guide dogs for the blind. And about at 5 days old, we start doing some neurological stimulation with these guys. So we touch them. We like to hold them in different ways, hold them on their backs. We tickle their little toes, gets them thinking about being held and being touched by people. And then around 4 weeks old, we start to bring them into what we call our socialization rooms, which is where I'm sitting right now. So we have a little fenced in area. We put down some blankets for them. They have some newspaper to go to the bathroom on, some toys. So there's another question, when do you introduce food? So about between 3 and 4 weeks old, we start introducing food. And we first do really soft food. So they get a little kibble, a little canned food that's like soaked. We mix it all together in a blender, and it's kind of like a little puppy smoothie for them. And we put it in little bowls, and they lap it up. So that's how they get introduced to food, because they're just starting to get their teeth in at that age, so they can't have anything too crunchy. And then as they go, we start to, have it be not blended and it's just soaked, and then eventually they get to just kibble. Let's see if there's any other questions. All right. So in our social room, we also have things called undercuttings. So I have a crate door in here for her to step over, and it gets her used to walking on different surfaces. So how old are they? So Empress here is 9 weeks old. We also have some younger puppies in here that are about 2 weeks old. They're really little. So varying in ages. So puppy. I also brought some treats for her. So one thing that we work on with them, even when they're really little in here, is we start to teach them how to do some sits. Good girl. And she really, really likes treats. Down. Another question. How many weeks until they get hard food? So they start to get hard food when they're probably about 6 to 7 weeks old. Some of them like to move to it a little bit faster. They prefer the hard kibble. Some of them are a little bit slower to get used to the hard kibble. So it kind of depends on the litter, but around 6 to 7 weeks old. All right, so can you explain the color system with them? So on Empress, you guys can see, she's got a little green paint on her back. Her collar's green too. So when the puppies are born, each of them is assigned a color. So we have like red, blue, green, yellow. And we just paint their fur with it. And that's how we keep track of who's who. Because when they're really little, they all look the same. And of course, they don't have names until they go to their puppy raisers. So that's how we keep track of them. So before Empress came home with me, we just called her Green Puppy. Good girl. She's liking to chew on the newspaper. So can the puppy raiser give them any name they want? So there are some limitations to what names they can have. So each litter is assigned a letter. So Empress was part of the E litter, and we just saw her sibling Everest. So all those puppies had to have names beginning with E. And then the next letter is F, the next letter after that is G, and so on through the alphabet until we get back to the beginning. So first of all, it has to begin with that letter. Then it can also only be 1 to 2 syllables. So Empress is 2 syllables, so that's okay. And it can't be already taken by a dog that's a guide dog. So they give us a list of names. We send in a couple that we want for the puppy, and then our puppy raiser department tells us whether or not we can use it. So Empress was actually our second choice. All right, we have a question from Mike F. I'm gonna unmute you again.
Everest is the blue puppy.
Yeah, Everest is blue. That's awesome. Yeah. There we go. So in their litter, Everest was blue and Empress was green. You again, Mike F. So the puppies get to hang in here for a good amount of the day too and play with toys and play with their siblings. We also have some volunteers that come in when they are about 4 weeks old, and the volunteers work with them on different skills. So that's a really fun job for people. Yeah. So they get to listen to some weird noises in here too. So I can show you guys. So we have this bunny toy. This is called a novel toy. So it sings and it dances and it does weird things. And we like to put a different one of these in with the puppies every day for them to see, because it introduces them to different noises and movements. And then we see how they react. She really wants to play with it. I'll turn it on. So it doesn't scare her at all. She likes to play with it. So Another question is, do the puppies lose their baby teeth? And if so, why? So the puppies do lose their baby teeth. So they lose their baby teeth around 4 to 6 months, so not in here. And they lose them because they need their adult teeth to come in. It's kind of like how when we lose our baby teeth, it makes room for the new teeth to come in. Their puppy teeth are very fragile, so they can break when they're chewing like bones and things that are too hard. So they have to lose their baby teeth to make room for those adult teeth. And then we have another question, what is your job? So my job is puppy care technician. So what I do is I care for the moms and the puppies. So the moms will come in here before they have the babies. I take care of them then. I help with the birds, and then I work with the puppies and the moms until they go home. So that includes feeding them, cleaning up after them, and then doing what we call enrichment. So keeping the moms and puppies occupied, giving them interesting things to do. We'll take them on car rides. We'll give them different treats to do. And we'll do some different training with them. So another question, can you play with the puppies as soon as they're born? So when they're born, we don't play with them. When they're just born, they don't really do much. They kind of spend most of the day sleeping, and they drink their mom's milk, and that's kind of what they do most of the day. They also can't see or hear when they're first born. They don't get those senses until they're about 2 weeks old. And they kind of just like crawl around. They can't walk yet. So we don't play with them yet. We don't start playing with them until they're really about like 4 weeks old, and they really start moving and grooving and running around their play boxes. So what was your first choice for a name? So my first choice for a name was Elsie. It was too close to the name of a guide dog that we have out right now. So they chose our second choice, which actually kind of fits her better after meeting her. She's our little princess. How often do you have a litter? So that varies. So like right now we have 3 litters in the pup house right now, and those came like right after these guys went out. But sometimes we've had a break of like a month or a couple months between litters. When do puppies stop biting everything? That's kind of dependent on the puppy as well. It depends for some of them. Empress is currently biting me, but they'll stop biting things in a couple weeks. You just have to give them different things to play with. I like to, when she tries to chomp on me, I like to give her some different toys to chew on. And then of course, when they start teething or when they start losing their teeth again, they're gonna start wanting to chew on things again. What happens if there's more puppies than puppy raisers? So that's something that we try not to have happen. As soon as the puppies are born, we let the puppy raiser department know how many puppies there are. And they search for puppy raisers, try and get new puppy raisers, advertise it on social media. Sometimes it does happen. If there are more puppies than puppy raisers, they just stay in here for a little bit longer, and we kind of adjust what we do. So that'll mean that we do a little bit more of the training that their puppy raiser would do with them. So we start doing the sits and the downs, and do a little bit more crate training. It's a little bit hard to have them in here past 8 weeks old because they need a little bit more, but we get them what they need until we get a puppy raiser for them. So BB asked, if you have a puppy of your own, can you teach them what the signals mean? Can you explain what you mean by signals? You mean like training? Come here, puppy. Okay. Then yeah, you can teach your puppies different tricks. A lot of these guys are just learning like the basic things like sits and downs. So we'll start by luring them into sits and downs. She already knows it, so like she sees I have a treat, she's waiting for it. But when they're around 4 weeks old, we'll start doing this with them. They'll stand. You want to show them the treat, and then you can kind of take it and like lure them into the sit. So move it so that their body will just sit. And then the same with a down. With a down, sometimes it's easier to teach them that when they're in a sit. And you just move down with a treat and kind of in, and their body will just go down. What are the puppies' eye color? They all have the same eye color. It's kind of like a dark brown. She'll look at the camera. She's like, no, I'm shy. But they all have that same eye color. No blue eyes or green eyes here. All of that would be really cool. What happens if the puppy raisers don't do their jobs? Well, hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully all our puppy raisers do their jobs. They're expected to go to class every week, and they have different tasks that they have to teach them every week. Sometimes it happens, and if that happens, the puppy raising department will first try and work with them to get them to do their job. But sometimes if it's just not working out, sometimes the puppy will go to a different puppy raiser home. And that's okay. Sometimes it just doesn't work out with that puppy. But she really likes the newspaper. Says that's fun. Here, sit. Good puppy. So right now we don't have puppy classes because of what's going on with the virus, but they're sending out videos and things for us to work on at home. Then we all get a handbook with different tasks that we need to teach them at different ages. And Trisha made a note too that as long as the puppy raiser is trying and the puppy might be challenging, the trainers will work with them when they come back. So we do have, our kennel too. Sometimes they'll come into the kennel for a little while and the trainers will work with them too and help you target what the issue is. How long do you raise the puppy for? So the puppies are home with us for about a year. They go back to training around like 14 to 16 months, give or take. It depends on the puppies. They kind of do it, based on their maturity level. Are the puppies messy when they are in the pup house? How often do you have to clean their pens? So puppies are very, very messy. If you have ever had a puppy at home, they go to the bathroom a lot when they're this little. And they like to play and step in everything. So imagine having like 8 of those in one little pen. So they make a big mess. So we clean up after them a couple times a day. We have some puppy play boxes for them, and we put some blankets down in it, and some toys, and some newspaper for them to go to the bathroom on. But they'll go to the bathroom, and they'll, walk everywhere, and they'll play in their water, and they'll make a big mess. So we have to clean their box. Usually it's about like 2 times a day when they're really little, but when they get to this age, we have to change it 3 times a day. So we're always very busy in here cleaning. It's pretty difficult when you have a lot of puppies in here. So how has COVID changed how you are doing your job in the pup house? So obviously we're still here. We still have to be here for the puppies and the moms, make sure they're being fed and cleaned. Somebody's here all day. Our shifts are a little bit more staggered. So usually there might be 2 or 3 of us here at a time. Now I work most of my shift, by myself, and then somebody will come in like towards the end of my shift to help me out. There's less people on campus as well. And usually we have volunteers that come in to help us too, but they're not here. So we're doing a little bit more of the work on our own. We're expected to do the cleaning and, the training with them. All right. What age will the puppies be when they become a guide dog? So they usually end up being a fully trained guide dog around the age of 2 years old. So they'll go in for training around like 14 to 16 months old. And then it takes about 6 to 9 months of formal guide dog training here in the kennel to be ready to be a guide dog. So that's about 2 years old. Some of them are a little bit younger, some of them are a little bit older, but around then. Good puppy. Our puppy placements have also changed a little bit with the virus as well. Usually people come on campus and we have our training room for the puppies, and everybody comes in there and as a group and gets to meet their puppies all together and has a little class. But we can't do that right now because everybody, we can't have that many people in one space. So we're doing those in staggered shifts. So we kind of just hand over your puppy and, tell you how to take care of them and the training and everything. And then we're not having the classes. So that definitely changes things as well. Staff also has to wear masks. So Trisha made me this mask. It has some dinosaurs on it. All right. If a puppy doesn't make the guide dog test, do their puppy raiser get them back? So this is what we call a career change dog. So that just means that being a guide dog wasn't the right career for them. And that's fine. Just doesn't work out for some of them for some reason or the other. Sometimes they're more suited to another career. So it might mean that they want to be a police dog, or they want to do like search and rescue. And then they'll go to somebody who can train them for that. Sometimes they're better suited for a career as a pet. And in that case, they are offered back to their puppy raiser first. So I actually have another dog at home who decided he didn't want to be a guide dog, and he instead wanted to be a couch potato. So I adopted him. So will all puppies become guide dogs? So unfortunately, no. So they have to be really good with their behavior and with their and medically. So not all the puppies can make it, and that's fine. They just, they decide that it's not for them. And like I said, they do a career change, whether that's to being a pet or to being a police dog or search and rescue or something along those lines. And that doesn't mean that the puppy raiser did a bad job either. Just doesn't work out sometimes. It's just who they are. The pet that I have at home, I can't imagine him being a guide dog. He's so lazy. But of course, we always want them to become a guide dog. I really hope that Empress becomes a guide dog. She's very good. So where did the breed dogs come from? So the breed dogs are also Fidelco dogs. They are carefully chosen from our dogs. They're like the best of the best. They have to be perfect medically, and they also have to have good behavior because we want to pass that on. So we have somebody who will help pick those. So those are all our dogs as well. I love dogs. Me too. They're pretty cute. Empress doesn't want to be on camera. So if a guide dog doesn't work well with a blind person, are they allowed to switch dogs? Yes. So our training team tries to match a guide dog best they can to a client. So they'll take into account like different things like even as how tall a person is or how fast or slow they walk, and things like where they live. Some guide dogs would prefer to work in the country rather than the city. So they'll try and match them with those things in mind. But sometimes it still doesn't work out. And if that's the case, we'll take that dog back and we'll match them with somebody different. And that client will get a different dog. So that's fine, it happens. What was Empress like as a young pup? Was she your favorite in the litter? Has her personality changed? So Empress has always been a very confident, outgoing, spunky little puppy. Their personalities really start to come out at a young age, even when they're as young as like 2 weeks old. Different puppies are like very different when you handle them. And that kind of just gets stronger as they get older. As they, as she's gotten older, she's gotten more confident, a little bit more independent. When they're younger, they kind of do things all as a litter. So it's a little bit harder to see their individual personalities. But, when we've done work with her in the social room and everything, we've seen that she's very confident. And that I've just seen that more, taking her home, getting her on her own. When I took her home, she just I put her down, she settled in right away, and she was like, this is my house right now. And I have some other dogs, and she got along with them right away, was not afraid of them at all. So her personality hasn't really changed. It's kind of just gotten stronger. Was she my favorite in the litter? It's hard. I don't usually pick favorites. There are some that stick out to me a little bit more. And she definitely stuck out to me because she was just very confident. She was always the one leading the pack. So I did really like her, but overall I really liked this whole litter. They were a very, very nice litter. Very smart, very calm. So everybody really liked them. All the girls in here really wanted to raise a puppy from this litter. Catherine said, thank you for all you do for Fidelco. It's such an awesome thing you all do to help blind people. Thank you, Catherine. We all love our job here. We love to be able to help people. It's really great to be able to work with the dogs and know that I'm helping to make a difference in the lives of others. Couldn't ask for a better job. And it's nice to be able to volunteer and be a puppy raiser as well and see that side of things. Empress is taking a nap now. She finally decided she's sleepy. Yes, I'm talking to you. Pretty cute puppy. Do you like your job? I really, really do like my job. It's kind of a unique thing that I get to do here, to work with puppies that are going to become guide dogs. And I feel very blessed every day to be able to work this job. I couldn't ask for anything better. Definitely some hard work some days. Having to clean those pens 3 times a day is not easy. Who were the parents of the e-litter? Well, the mom was Fiona. Do the puppy raisers have to live close to you? They have to live close enough to be able to attend Saturday classes. This age, if we aren't having classes right now, they would be every Saturday. So you'd have to be able to make it down for class every Saturday. We have had some puppy raisers who have lived an hour away. We've had some from Rhode Island, Massachusetts. I even know of one in southern New Hampshire. So as long as you can, as long as you're willing to make that drive, then it's okay. But we don't usually have like puppy raisers in like, Florida or anything. Thank you for all you do. Oh, you're welcome. Right. Are people allowed to have a second puppy to raise before they give one back? And by the way, Empress is so cute. She is very cute. And people are allowed to have a second puppy to raise before they give one back. Usually it's not long before they go back. It's really hard to have, like 2 puppies around this age. It's enough managing her, but they will, so we're raising another puppy. His name is Windsor, and he's almost a year old. So they let us have her. It's kind of nice because they get an older dog that they can like learn from, and it makes the transition easier when you have to give back that older puppy. But some people don't always like to do that either. Some people like to wait. Do you give dogs out to handlers all over the country? Yes, we do. So our dogs will go all over the United States. We also have some in Canada. So our trainers do something called in-community placement, where they go out to the client themselves for about 2 weeks and place the dog so that they get to, the dog and the client get to learn together, where they live and take the routes that they would usually be taking. Are the mother dogs a part of your litter that don't pass the guide dog test? So the mother dogs are ones that do really well. So they do pass. They can be guide dogs, but we pick them to be moms because we really like them and we want to, pass on their behavior. They do really well, but we select them for a different career. Do you have male and female dogs? Yeah. Boys and girls. So in Empress's litter, she does have, I think, 4 brothers. So that's fun too. You can have brothers and sisters. And at home, she's got 2 big brothers. She thinks they're a lot of fun. Oh, I woke you up. It's like I'm trying to nap. Puppy. But for adult dogs in here, we only have girls. Can a puppy raiser have pet dogs too? Yes, they can. So one of my dogs that I have is a pet. He was but he decided he was better suited to be a pet, or a couch potato, as I call him. So it's fine. Your dog has to be okay with like other dogs as well. If they're a different breed, we only have German Shepherds here, so they get used to seeing other dogs that look like them. So it's really good if you do have pet dogs because they get used to seeing some different breeds as well. What do you do if the puppy gets sick? So if the puppy gets sick, we have a medical team on site. So we have a vet and we have 3 vet techs. We have one that directly oversees the Puphouse, and then we have a couple that help oversee the dogs in training and the dogs in puppy raiser homes. So if anything happens with them, together and decide, what treatment is best. And then usually we'll be the ones that do the treatments with these guys. And it's really nice that we have so many people with their hands on these puppies, because if something does happen with them, we're very quick to notice that something has gone wrong. How old do you have to be to raise a puppy, and how old do you have to be a handler? So you have to be over 18. for those. But if you are under 18 and you want to raise a puppy, you can do that with your parents' help. They just have to be the ones that, are officially the puppy raisers and, sign the paperwork. But you can definitely help them with that and come to classes. So definitely something to talk to your parents about if you're under 18. What if people don't bring their dogs to dog school? Can people bring their puppies to their school? So with the puppies here, they have to come to their own classes. So our puppy raiser department has classes that are designed especially for them. So you have to come to those as much as you can. But when your puppy gets a little bit older and is ready for that, you can talk to the puppy raiser department about bringing the puppy to your school for a little training. But they're a little bit young right now. You give kids who are blind guide dogs. We don't give kids guide dogs. Usually we wait until they're over 18. Just so that they're at a little bit more of a stable point in their life and can be responsible for taking care of it. Because our clients have to be people who are independent, who can, be responsible for these dogs, about taking them to the vet and feeding them and, taking them out to go to the bathroom. So what if a kid needs a guide dog? So kids that are visually impaired, they will use things like canes or something called a sighted guide, which is a human who helps them get around. That might be their parents, it might be a friend. And then when they're over 18, they can apply for a guide dog. And there might be other schools. I'm not sure what the policy of other schools is on that. There are some other guide dog schools out there. But there are other ways that visually impaired people can get around. And there are some people who prefer using a cane or sighted guide to using a guide dog. And some people might be allergic to dogs. And these guys, they shed a lot. We call them German shedders because they shed so much. She's sound asleep. Good puppy. So something else that we do with the puppies is something called body handling. It's where we get them used to being touched so that they're good about it for like when they go to the vet and stuff, and also for when their handler has to touch them or put a harness on them. So that's kind of what I'm doing with her while she's sleeping, and calm as I'm touching her toes, touch her body, look in her ears. Do the puppies like cats? So some of them do, some of them are not sure. So that's another thing that we do when they're in the pup house. So we have a couple cats that live at Fidelco. Their names are Scout and Dylan. And when the puppies are in here and they're a little older, around like 5 or 6 weeks old, we'll start bringing in one of the cats in here. Usually it's on the other side of the fence, so the puppies can't get to her and bother her. And it's a very safe interaction. But they'll get to see the cat, check her out. So most of the puppies in her litter weren't interested in the cat at all. Scout would come in here and be walking around and meowing, and they were just they'd just look at her and go back to sleep. There was one puppy who was very interested in Scout, would go to the fence and cry because he couldn't get on the other side of the fence to say hi to her. So he really likes cats. He was really interested, but the other puppies in the litter were not interested at all. And we have a cat at home, and she likes him. She'll go up to him and sniff him, but then she leaves him alone. So they are. So some of them do and some of them don't. One of my other puppies, like, he likes cats, but he plays with the cats a little bit too rough. So we have to be careful with the cats. So some of them are a little bit too interested. All right, so does anybody have any questions, any more questions before we finish this up? Give you guys a minute to think of things. How many do you get in each litter? So that depends. We've had some litters that are as small as 1 puppy, and then the biggest litter we've had is 14. Usually it's about like 6 to 8 puppies. All right. Mike F., I'm gonna unmute you again.
So, what food can puppies eat and what food can puppies not eat?
So puppies, we usually try and just give them to start just their kibble. So they have a special puppy kibble that they eat. And then they can also have some different kinds of treats. So we usually try and keep the treats as the same protein that their kibble is. So their kibble is made with chicken. So we'll usually try and give them some different like chicken treats. I've got here, these are the training treats we use in the Puphouse. So those are the kind of treats that they can have right now. We try and steer away from human foods for them because their tummies are really sensitive. And there are some foods not good for dogs. So dogs can't have things like grapes, raisins, chocolate. So that's a no-no for every dog. Does every litter have a runt of? Well, there's always one puppy that's like the smallest in each litter. Sometimes the difference is there's not a huge difference in those puppies. They're just a little bit smaller, and then sometimes they're a lot smaller. And it's interesting to see, you know, how they end up growing. Sometimes those puppies that were the runt of the litter in here and were really small, sometimes they end up being just as big as their siblings when they get older. Do most puppies have brown eyes? Yes, so all our puppies have brown eyes. Might have already answered this, but how many puppies were in Empress's litter? How many boys and girls? So there were 8 puppies in her litter. There were 4 boys and 4 girls. So it was a nice mix. Also about their eyes, it's kind of interesting. So they're born with their eyes closed, and then their eyes open around 2 weeks old. So that's my favorite age. I love to see when their eyes open because it just starts a little bit, and then like each day it gets more and more until their eyes are fully open. And you can kind of see that they're like starting to look around at the world. All right. Anybody else have any other questions? No? Empress, sleepy little puppy. All right. Oh. Do the mother dogs let you near her pups when they are born? So that depends on the mom. So most of the moms that we've had here are perfectly fine with us getting in the box with them and touching their puppies and, you know, handling them and, you know, moving them to clean the box and everything. Some of the moms are a little bit more nervous. They're a little bit more protective of their puppies, and that just means that we have to adjust how we do things. But most of our moms are perfectly okay with it. They get to know us before they have the puppy, so they really trust us. BB said, do puppy spot. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you mean puppy sit? Thank you for sharing with us. You're welcome. I love sharing these little guys. They're pretty cute. You guys can check out our website too at fidelco.org for some puppy pictures as well. Oh. So these puppies aren't for sale. BB says it's a website with puppies for sale. So these guys aren't for sale. At 8 weeks old, they go to volunteer puppy raiser homes, and Fidelco still owns them. They just go to their homes to, you know, get used to living in a house and to do some training with different people. And then they come back to us at 14 to 16 months of age for their formal guide dog training. So no, they're not on that website. But you can find some pictures of them at fidelco.org, or you know, if any of your parents have Facebook or you have Facebook, Fidelco has a Facebook page with some pictures as well. Any last questions? Can puppy raisers post pictures / videos of their puppies online? Yes, puppy raisers can post some pictures of them. When was Empress born? Empress was born in March. So she's 9 weeks old now. That's just over 2 months. She's a March baby. Go puppy. All right. There's no more questions. I'm going to bring the call to an end. Thank you for joining, everybody. Enjoyed your questions, and I'm glad that you guys all got to see Miss Empress here. And enjoy Everest. You're welcome.